Batman Gotham by Gaslight was very interesting. I enjoyed the reimagined Batman, if you will. It's basically Batman in a they it's like a Victorian era. I think it's like the 1800s around there, like when the steam engine was creative, if you will. Probably like late 1800s, early 1900s Batman. So everything is pretty old school in this one, even though Batman becomes a little bit ingenious in his gadgets, if you will. But before I continue, consider this your spoiler warning because I will be talking spoilerish ish about this movie. So you've been warned. But I definitely enjoyed it. It was a different timeline Batman, if you will. And it was weird seeing Batman with a overcoat, if you will. And you have to look at it. You see that movie, what I'm talking about. Like, we're used to his bat, and he used an overcoat from the Victorian era as his cape. And it worked, kind of, even though the protagonist or the evil person of this movie also used one. So it was a huge confusion. So it's basically Batman versus Jack the Ripper, the famed Jack the Ripper that tormented back in those days the killing of women that he thought were, easy, floozy kind of. And it's a weird, dark take to take, even though a lot of several Batman movies and even Justice League animated movies have taken a darker tone, and Batman just lends itself to those kind of stories, and this is no different. I mean, the plot of it is that, or the main idea of the story is Batman investigates the murders surrounding women in Gotham that are attributed to the famed Jack the Ripper, and Catwoman kind of helps him, even though she's not really Catwoman per se, even though there's a insinuation that she is Catwoman. And the pacing is okay with when leading on to it, but as I've said in many reviews of any Batman movie, whether it be live action or animated, I think a lot of the producers or the production crews try to incorporate that detective part of Batman, and you have to really appreciate that detective part to not get or not complain about the pacing, because it's too easy to complain about the pacing because it's just him investigating, finding out, a lot of talking, a lot of seducing, a lot of investigation work. And if you're not into Batman, you're never going to be into the investigative part of him. So you'll just hate it, which begs to differ why the hell you would watch this movie. But as far as just what a Batman movie is, or what you expect if you do like that investigative part of it, it was a good movie. From how he got to Jack the Ripper, even though in this one Jack the Ripper became the sloppy one, and that's how Batman ultimately figured him out. But on a little side tangent, so my thing is, we know that Batman was created because he saw his mom and dad get shot in the movie, out leaving the movie theater. So they obviously didn't have any movie theaters in the late 1800s, 1900s, maybe I'm wrong. And they kind of insinuated to his parents dying anyways as he was young. But given the origins of Batman, would he have still been Batman? And that's one of the things that I have a problem with when dealing with Batmans, and when they reimagine him or a different timeline Batman, is that I feel that if you change that part of it, he doesn't become Batman, right? He doesn't turn out to be the Cape Crusader as we know. So they try to cheapen it by saying, "Oh, I know you're doing this for your parents." And it's like, well, how did they get killed? I know they got killed, but does that, just because they got killed, does that mean he ends up being Batman? Or does he come and become Owlman? Or does he become Mouse Boy? Or does he become, like, does he still become a superhero, but he just changes his name, right? Like, super priest or whatever, if you will. But anyway, just a little weird thought that I was, thinking when I was watching this movie. But again, all in all, great story. I thought the voice acting was superb. I enjoyed it. They matched the illustrations or the characters they were playing. The animation on this, there was parts where it was questionable and kind of lazily drawn, but you give them a pass because I would say 95% of the movie, the animation is spot on. And I did, like I said, they stuck to the period really good and were so creative in the gadgets and the motorcycle that you'll see Batman drive. You're like, oh, how did you have a motorcycle? And you hear the steam engine kind of in the background on he's driving it. You're like, and then the way Catwoman makes the bat symbol also, you're like, that's pretty clever. I'm like, so the cleverness in this movie is off the charts. I caught myself saying more of that, like, that's pretty clever. So all in all, I thought this movie was a B-. It's not perfect, but it's definitely not bad by any sense. You'll definitely enjoy it if you're a Batman fan, if you're a DC fan, if you're a Justice League fan, if you're just a fan of the Cape Crusader, you will find this entertaining. So anyways, that is just my thoughts, or those are just my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. What did you think about this movie? What did you think about Batman Gotham by Gaslight? Did you enjoy it? Would you recommend it? Did you hate it? Put your thoughts down in the comments, and like always, that's a wrap.